Hello and welcome to a brand new podcast. A podcast all about the events of this month that's just gone. In this instance, yes, that's right, February. Well done, have yourself a lolly. Before I get into the detail of it, I'm going to start it off with a little bit of a rap. The 14th of February was the day of your Valentine. Hold her, caress her, make her feel fine. The day after, however, feel free to disappear like those nutters going to Mars who clearly have no fear. Another plane crash happened in Asia. Footage didn't seem real. Did it do much to phase you? There was Katy Perry at the Super Bowl. Her with Lenny Kravitz made me lose my soul. Samsung TVs listening to every word. Orwell's vision of the future couldn't seem any less absurd. The world of freedom of speech still isn't great, thanks to a man who attacked a freedom of speech debate. Freedom to dodge tax, however, is alive and well. HSBC helped the rich, isn't that swell? Eddie Redmayne won the Best Actor award. Another disgraced politician resigns of his own accord. At the Brits, Madonna took a tumble, all because of a backing dancer's fumble. EastEnders was 30. Who killed Lucy Beale? Better Call Saul started. For me, kind of a big deal. There were some things that happened in February. Nothing else really rhymes with February. I'll end this rap here. Wasn't that lovely? Now, sit down and enjoy my adventure through the last month as I pick it apart like chicken off the bone.
Here's Johnny.
Hello, my name is Johnny.
Johnny.
Johnny?
Oh, Johnny. Oh, Johnny.
The month started in explosive fashion with the Super Bowl, which saw literally tens of people sit in front of their television trying to work out what the hell is going on. With weeks to go, Channel 4 took delight by ramming the event down our throats with loud action-filled adverts, giving the impression that something could actually happen exciting enough for us to jump out of our seats. The show saw Vernon Kay, alongside his hair, and a number of other people we have no interest in, talking about something we don't understand for hours on end. Now, I'm going to put it out here right now. I don't know a lot about American football, but I do know that it sees very short bursts of play, followed by long breaks. Now, this perfectly suits American TV, where an advert break every 5 minutes is completely common, but over here, we generally have to wait about 15 minutes for an advert break, meaning the pundits have to find something to talk about. Notice I didn't say interesting there, just something, anything, please something. The analysis of the Super Bowl felt like an on-air exorcism as the pundits tried hopelessly over and over again to discuss 15 seconds of play over a 10-minute period. Each time play resumed, every single face in the studio filled with pleasure and relief, as if they'd just let out that fart they'd been keeping in for the last half an hour. From an on-air exorcism to someone's soul literally being sold live on air, rock legend Lenny Kravitz performed alongside Katy Perry with a lackluster rendition of I Kissed a Girl in the halftime show. Looking more out of place than Katie Hopkins in a soup kitchen, the internet reacted obviously with anger and confusion, with even Lenny's daughter Zoe taking to Instagram to post a picture of the pair with the caption underneath saying, Dad? Basically saying, well, why the hell did you just do that? Now, I can't completely criticise the halftime show. It would be simply wrong to say that it wasn't an impressive spectacle. Riding in on what was probably supposed to be a tiger but looked more like a lion, donning a number of impressive costume changes, and soaring to the top of the stadium on a wire at the end of the performance, you can't say Katy Perry didn't put her heart into the performance, regardless of whether she was actually singing or not. But although it was certainly a spectacle, and a visually stimulating one at that, it kind of felt hollow and empty and lacked any sort of character or anything that made it feel unique. Anyone who saw, for example, Prince perform in 2007 will forever have etched in their minds the vision of the Prince symbol rising from the ground, or the 50-foot silhouette of Prince playing the solo to Purple Rain. This year, however, was as forgettable as, well, who won Big Brother last year? Or was it this year? I don't know, I don't care. But by the by, it was certainly the most interesting thing that happened over the 5 and a bit hours the Super Bowl was on TV. It does say something rather interesting about a sport, that the most interesting part of the entire game is the bit at half-time, when the sport isn't being played. Anyway, loads of other stuff happened this month, so let's not get too bogged down in the Super Bowl. Something entirely remarkable happened in this country on the 3rd of February.
The UK is on its way to becoming the first country to legalise the creation of babies from 3 different people. In a large majority, the House of Commons voted in favour of the controversial 3-parent in vitro fertilization, or TPI-VF. The technique is designed to prevent specific genetic diseases from being passed on to the child by introducing a third donor's mitochondrial DNA.
That's right, Britain became the first country in the world to set the way for test tube babies. And while skeptics think that this is one step away from designer babies, what it can mean for science and for eradicating disease, especially mental disorders, is something that simply cannot be ignored. With me to discuss the controversial subject is Tim. Welcome, Tim.
I believe we should have genetically advanced human beings.
The problem is, though, you're going to add a third parent into the fold.
I think parent's the wrong word, isn't it? Because it's not like you're going to be having Sunday lunch together.
Well, I don't know. If you're going to be part of that baby, then surely you should be... surely you're a parent, and then you should be a part of that child's life.
That's true, but I don't think that's why people are doing it. I think they're doing it... It's not like, I reckon our son should have another dad.
The problem is, though, what would you call that third parent? Because you put those words together, mum and dad, it creates either mad or dumb.
Oh.
Neither of that works.
No, you'd have to come up with something completely new, like ankle.
Ankle?
Or auntie. Like, I don't know why I'm saying uncle and aunt, but...
Why ankle?
Uncle and aunt. Uncle. Uncle.
Right, okay then. When do we get to the point where we completely edit all genetics? Do you think, Tim, really serious question now, could we get a race of giant babies with infrared lasers in their eyes?
I think we could get giant babies. I don't think we could get the infrared eyes bit. But I reckon the giant babies, definitely.
And do you think that would be good for humanity, giant babies?
Well, you've got to think why you'd have the giant baby.
Yeah.
You know, would you be willing to spend billions of pounds in technology to create a load of massive babies for very little use? Unless they were put into like a large, really expensive circus.
So do you reckon we could get something like the Stay Puft Man from...
What, so you create a living thing that's flesh is just made of marshmallow?
So you could do that. You could once you genetically alter babies, why can't you genetically alter marshmallows to create large marshmallow humans?
Well, we already genetically modify crops and food, so you just got to look at the reasoning behind it. Would you want that? Like, it'd be nice to have a person that didn't have any diseases, but then you're thinking, do I want a marshmallow that's going to talk back to me when I'm about to eat it? So,
yes, you're making some very, very valid points there, Tim.
I know, I'm a very valid person.
Tim, thank you for joining me on this hard-hitting conversation.
Thank you for hard-hitting me, that was brilliant.
Go away.
Bye.
Becoming all too often at the moment, the 4th of February saw another plane crash in Asia. There have been far too many of these recently. Now, I'll tell you a little something. About this time last year, March time, me and a friend went to Morocco. And it was the first time that I had ever flown. Ever since I was really young, I was petrified of flying. I don't really know where it comes from. But when I was young, I was a pain in the backside to my parents who wanted to go to nice places, but I would only ever go to France because we could get there on the ferry. This time last year, I just decided enough was enough. I was just going to fly. I can't spend my life evading flying. Now, I remember when I was like sort of 12 or 13, I was thinking about flying, and then 9/11 happened. Whenever I've thought about flying, some sort of horrific plane crash has happened. So I'm really, really glad that I did the whole flying thing for the first time before all these plane crashes in Asia, because I'm sorry, that would have freaked me out. Now, this time, thanks to the technology of dash cams, in something resembling an apocalypse film, the crash was caught on camera. I was, as I'm sure you were, extremely dubious about watching this footage when I first saw it online. I really had no interest or desire to watch footage that basically shows people die, but I couldn't fight the temptation to see it. I kind of just wanted to see what this plane crash looked like. Now, what I saw completely shocked me, but I wasn't shocked because I'd just seen a plane crash. What shocked me was the lack of shock at what I had just seen. My brain was not fully able to register what I was seeing, to the point that I had to research the footage to make sure it was actually real. In this day of high-budget action movies, our brains are frighteningly used to all manner of objects exploding. Has it really got to the point, however, that seeing footage of a real disaster no longer seems shocking to us? I mean, I was convinced the video had been edited, and not even that well. The image of the plane falling from the sky seemed to resemble the image of killer sharks falling from the sky in sci-fi cult classic Sharknado. But no, this was real. It actually happened.
You're not listening to this, are you?
Johnny!
Okay, so let's take a break from the immediate events of January. This is the section of the podcast that I call What Really Peeves Me Off. I know, incredible name, right? It's just, I had to pay someone millions of pounds to think of that genius name. Each month I will talk about something that, well, really peeves me off about modern life, social trends, or just whatever's bugging me lately. This month I want to talk to you about something that has been irritating me for a while now. What's that, I hear you ask? Well, banks trying to be our friends and trying to show us they care, as this clip from a Nationwide advert sums up beautifully.
They say money makes the world go round. At Nationwide, we think it's people.
Ever since the recession took hold of our country in 2007, banks, and most precisely bankers, have been seen as money-hungry, fat cigar-smoking villains, which has resulted in banks coming up with increasingly vomit-inducing adverts as they try to get back on our side. It's a little bit like the cringeworthy ex standing outside your house with a boombox over their head. Now, they could try to get back on our side by, sacking those responsible for putting our country in recession and paying the general public back for what they borrowed, but nah. A slickly produced advert is far better.
Linda Turner, you're our kind of person. You're not satisfied until the customer's satisfied. Linda, you deserve it.
This line from a Halifax campaign attempts to reach out to the everyday worker by praising them for their achievements, such as taking a photograph or putting a shopping trolley back in its place. Interestingly, this advert isn't trying to reach out to people who have financial prospects, but to everyday people who have mundane run-of-the-mill jobs with little financial prospect. That's basically exactly the same people who were screwed over the most by the recession. From exceedingly patronising adverts which praises you for doing literally nothing interesting, other adverts such as First Direct seek to confuse their audience into thinking they are something different by producing quirky black and white adverts with a talking platypus and other unusual animals. I don't really have anything to say on that one. Do you really want me to review any more adverts? No, you don't. Now, I know adverts love to bend the truth to make their products look better, and that's fine, we all know they do it, but this, with banks, it's simply outright lying. Lying from people who single-handedly robbed you, asking you to trust them with your money. Okay, right, have you ever been lied to by a partner before? Did you forgive them? Most of us would give someone a second chance if they lied to us. But if you're lied to once, we generally become a lot less blind to the lie a second time around. This is exactly what is happening here. We were lied to. Banks are greedy, money-hungry businesses. So if you've been exposed as that, you might as well be honest about who you are. You'll look after our money, but you might try and screw us just a little bit. Sorry about that. Maybe they could say, we'll try and screw you the least. That would be an honest bank advert. But, you know what? To be honest, I'm not too sure about this section of my podcast. I'm going to end this one here. I think I'm being a little bit pessimistic, to be honest. Maybe banks have changed.
Leaked files have shown how more than 1,000 people from Britain with secretive Swiss bank accounts and thousands more around the world were helped and advised by HSBC on how to hide their money from the taxman.
Yes, it turns out HSBC have been assisting wealthy clients evade millions of pounds of tax, which has sent the media into somewhat of a frenzy. Why this is a news story utterly bewilders me, to be honest. Huge companies such as Apple and Starbucks have been evading tax for a number of years, so it's only common sense, surely, that wealthy individuals would also use tricks to evade tax in the same way. You could argue that the news story is that a well-known bank are responsible for helping those people. But who the hell else is going to help you financially cheat? Your dentist? Stories like this only prove what is already solid truth. Banks are lying, cheating, which think they are above the law. And, thanks to the government of this country, they are above the law. Now, I'm not going to tell you to keep your savings in a sock under your bed. That would just be stupid. But if you take anything from this podcast, please let it be, don't trust banks. You are just a big bag of money to them. Okay, TV spoiler alert, sort of. On a more light-hearted note, popular TV walkathon The Walking Dead returned to our screens with a selection of episodes about a group of people that walk around somewhere in America. Whilst I'm a big fan of the show, I love anything to do with zombies, its sheer lack of getting to the point is really starting to make me lose interest in the show. It may have changed showrunner more times than Jordan has changed men, but that doesn't excuse the fact that we are 5 seasons into the show and nothing has happened. Literally nothing. They walk around for a bit, then they find somewhere to hang out for a bit, then someone gets munched. That repeat for 5 seasons. I really would not be surprised to see Rick and his merry band of half-wits running around proclaiming "We will survive" or "This isn't it" in 8 seasons' time without a single one of them considering driving to the coast or trying to cross a border. If you are a Walking Dead fan, you might want to read the article that I've written. It's on my website, johnnyborrows.com, that's JONNYBORROWS.com, where I dissect the show in a bit more depth. Also new to our screens this month was Better Call Saul, the highly anticipated spin-off from Breaking Bad. Now, before you think this is some sort of review segment, it's not. I've got no criticism of Better Call Saul, it's great so far. It's well made, it's well written, the storyline is meticulously thought out. Although the constant Breaking Bad references, similar filming style and storylines which all seem to be somewhat about Saul Goodman Breaking Bad, I do wonder if Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould are suffering the most from the end of Breaking Bad, and like someone who can't get over their ex, is replacing it with the next best thing.
He somehow has his own podcast. You're listening to Johnny Borrows.
Anyway, moving on from TV review stuff, I want to tell you, I started reading George Orwell's 1984 this month. Now, normally when I get a book, I struggle to get through it. Sometimes I give up halfway through. This one I have literally not been able to put down. Orwell's vision of the future is horrifyingly representative of modern life, and although we can't be killed by the state for falling in love like you can in 1984, a lot of us are stuck in pointless jobs which aim to serve the ridiculous society that we live in, which may as well be the state. If you haven't read 1984, George Orwell didn't predict stuff to the exact detail like the internet and so on. more that his prediction of the future represents much of the Big Brother society that we live in. That is until now. In 1984, every home had something called telescreens, which listens to your every word, which is exactly what Samsung has revealed their smart TVs have been doing for some time, thanks to their voice recognition software. Samsung were so concerned about this security risk that they have advised members of the public not to discuss private details in front of the TV unless it is uploaded to the internet. Screw my personal details. Has this TV been listening to what I do in the house on my own? I bloody hope not. Anyway, that is about it for February. Now, I could go and list everything that's happened this month, but I could also go and get a proper job. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. To be honest, not a whole lot happened this month. I mean, I could talk about the Oscars. Birdman won loads of stuff. I don't know why. It was a bit rubbish in my opinion. Eddie Redmayne won Best Actor. There you go. I just reviewed the Oscars. Normally, January is the quiet month of the year, but this year was pretty hectic, so February had to take over the role of the slightly more boring month of the year. So, actually, hang on, is there anything else I can think of? Anything that's really important I've got to mention? Oh yeah! Honorary mention has to go out to Robert Mugabe falling over. Did you see the footage of that? It was hilarious. Not many 90-year-olds have a fall and survive with no problems, but that scumbag did. If that isn't solid proof there is no God, what else is there? I mean, he's 90 years old and he looks about 60. Okay, back to being lighthearted, go and have a look at what the internet has done with the image of Robert Mugabe falling over. There is the photoshopped image of him surfing, running a race, dancing with Beyonce, and there's loads more. Go and have a look, it's absolutely brilliant. It will, I can guarantee you, put a big, big smile on your face. Oh yeah, also, his daughter is called Bona. Right, that's it. Done. I need to wait for a month of stuff to happen before I can do another podcast. Until next month, my friends, go involve yourself in some world events. Maybe I'll review it next month.